Hello, I'm Louise and welcome to Love Lessons. I'm so excited that I'm here with Annabel Hannam from Intro Northwest. So Intro Northwest and Annabel is a matchmaker or dating consultant, do you call yourself?
Matchmaker.
Matchmaker. And she's based in Manchester but travels nationwide with her team helping singles find, build long-lasting loving relationships via personal introductions. So first and foremost, welcome to Annabel.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here.
So exciting to be here.
Really good to be in Manchester together as well.
In Manchester together. So Annabel, what are the biggest hurdles that singles are facing in this modern day dating scene?
I think we're finding that people are just finding it difficult to meet like-minded people. It's so transient on the apps. People are just swiping, not really engaging particularly with anybody. And I was chatting to somebody earlier and she was saying, although she's constantly on Bumble, Tinder, whatever, she has one date a month typically and hasn't been on a second date in 3 months.
Okay.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Whereas I think when they come to a matchmaker, hopefully they're engaging with the process and we're there to help them.
Yes, and I think that when you're consistently and constantly, as she might have put it, on the online dating apps, whatever they might be, sometimes you're not consciously searching, you're just swiping and looking for, I guess, that hit of serotonin, that yes match that may not result in a date depending on how you're communicating, how efficient you are. They might think you've fallen off the face of the earth if you don't get back to them.
That's right.
And if you are not giving each profile the attention it deserves, and which is essentially a person behind that profile, and you're just continuously swiping looking for Mr. or Miss Perfect, then you're essentially not consciously dating. So are you finding that, let's say, the conversion rate from swipes to matches to dates isn't quite there with the people that you are meeting?
Exactly. And I think, and then they perhaps do meet somebody and meet up and it's all, great, go on a date and one party is just rejecting the other without even giving it another go. With, and not finding out about depth behind just that face that's shown on the screen.
Ghosting.
Yeah. I know. And it's
true.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because I think if people could just not write things off so quickly, there could be something there underneath.
Whenever I chat to somebody who says, I've been on a date and I'm not so sure, I always say that if you're not certain, always go on a second date.
Absolutely, and that is quite hard to get through to people, isn't it?
Not that you shouldn't expect every first date to be a certainty that that person is right or wrong in your perception. You should always give a second date, because first date nerves can certainly get in the way of having fluid conversation and, really scouting out the values and all. You don't do that on a first date.
No. Or someone could just be having an off day, couldn't they?
They could just be having an off day. Yeah.
And the other thing, I think people they're looking for this ideal person that they've got in their head, and actually really there's so much more to a relationship, isn't there, than just how somebody looks. And when you meet them in person, they come alive, and that twinkle or sparkle, just something that makes you laugh, or their scent, anything that you just don't get through a screen.
Yes.
And I think so when people do come, they're pleasantly surprised that there is an alternative. And in fact, so many people ring and say, I've never even knew such a thing existed. Only in New York or something.
Only in New York or back in the 1600s or something like that.
That's right.
So personal introductions and matchmaking is, one of the oldest professions and passions, I guess, in connecting people to find a loving relationship. And people are so connected online virtually these days that they forget that there are real human beings out there. That's one of the reasons that Love Lessons is here in Manchester, to bring to the forefront of people's minds that there are dating experts, matchmakers, coaches, sex therapists, sexperts as you call them, communication experts that can all help you find and build and deepen long-lasting love. And so I'm here interviewing Annabel, because I want her to share with the world her expertise and knowledge of how she connects singles offline, because we're so online. We're on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, Inner Circle, all of those fantastic platforms. But actually, if you're not having any dating success, and I don't mean finding the perfect partner, because there is no A, such thing as perfect, and B, if you've not met your person yet, perhaps online isn't for you, or perhaps you're not communicating yourself in the best way.
That's absolutely it, isn't it? And to build somebody's confidence, or to maybe just address how they approach a potential partner.
Yeah.
They could be sending out the wrong messages. I think when people are on their own for a while as well, they become very independent,
yes.
which can be a good thing.
Yeah.
But also, they can be sending out the wrong messages and actually pushing people away, thinking I'm capable, I can do everything. And that sort of feminine energy could come across, and we can help people with that.
Amazing. So the thing is about hiring a matchmaker, as Annabel will most rightly tell you, is that there is accountability in the dating and relationship search process. So say you went on a date and you think, perhaps in your perception, that you put the best foot forward that you could possibly put. However, John Smith might come back to Annabel and say, oh, actually, Sarah didn't even speak to me on that date, or she didn't ask me anything about me, and she only talked about her. Well, that's not a bad thing, because it could have been nerves, it could have been a bad day. And so the accountability in terms of feedback that Annabel receives as a matchmaker helps people constructively and consciously couple, because she's feeding back to them how they can improve their style of communication, what's holding them back from finding the love that they so deserve. And you're giving them advice constructively.
Right. And I think actually, most of our clients are successful, professional people, quite capable in their field. But actually, when you come into dating, it's so different, isn't it? It's so personal.
So personal.
And they could be treating it a bit like a job, in a meeting at work or an interview, and that's just a bit of a turn off, isn't it?
So actually, are you helping people beat the algorithm by getting offline?
And there is nothing wrong with online dating, is there?
No,
it works for
absolutely
loads of people.
not.
But for some people, if it isn't working, or it's just an alternative, isn't it? And to work closely with a matchmaker, with a consultant, to point them in the direction of coaches and image consultants, just to give them a boost, and just show them that they really can find somebody that's right for them.
When singles come to you, what kind of mindset do they find themselves in? Is it A, I'm proactive, or B, I'm burnt out, I've dated too many people? Is it quite varied?
It is quite varied, Sarah, and I think people are different, aren't they? And some come and they're a bit desperate. They feel like they've tried everything. All their friends
are tired.
Yeah, they're worn out. And it is so time consuming. If you're going to do the apps properly, you've got to be on it, haven't you? And it takes a lot of time.
Yes.
But I think they just think, oh, this is my last resort.
Yes.
Or some people, they don't want they're confident. They're keen to keep their self private, and they don't want their profile online.
So they come for confidentiality reasons.
Yes, we're very discreet. Or they just maybe need a bit of confidence boosting rather than just working on their own. So I think it's to work together with them is really helpful.
So you're working as a team, you're working collaboratively with your clients.
Yeah.
And where are your clients predominantly based? Are they in Manchester, Wilmslow, where are they?
Across the north, we're growing across the northwest. It's quite exciting, So we're Manchester and Cheshire, and we're heading up towards sort of Bolton, Preston, Harrogate, and then we collaborate with some of the great agencies in the rest of the country and internationally. Typically a lot of them are in London, aren't they? But we've introduced some great people from up here to people who live in London, and some of our clients live in the northwest and work in London during the week, so it can work quite well.
So can you give me a success story in terms of how you've helped someone build the confidence to get out there, or any successful matches? Can you tell me what your favourite thing is about being a matchmaker?
Well, I think sometimes the best thing is when it's an unexpected relationship from the client's point of view. So they think they know who they want to meet, and they've got this picture in their head.
Yes.
And can be quite prescriptive when they come along to us, and that we can encourage them to be a bit more open-minded and just think a little bit broader.
Yes.
And
is that in terms of job, height?
they can, people can list their height requirement, hair colour requirement,
Fantastic.
Job requirement. I had somebody said, "Oh, I don't want to go out with somebody who's a dentist," and you just think, really?
Oh.
But so if we can encourage them to be a little bit more, broad thinking, it can be so much more successful. And one lady, she was really attractive. I thought she'd be easy to match when she came along. She is quite tall, and I thought, we're a few months into her membership, and I was thinking, we're not getting anywhere with this. And I felt for her, and I'm sure she was getting a bit fed up. Anyway, I then met a guy who, at a professional event, business event, and he was so nice, but she'd said she needed somebody over 6 foot who looked like this, Anyway, I thought he'd get on really well with her, and because I knew her, I'd worked quite closely with her by then. And anyway, they're still together a year and a half on.
Oh, fantastic!
And she has said, I would never have selected him on an app.
No.
Just, he was outside of her search criteria. And
fantastic.
They're brilliant together.
I mean, I often share love lessons on the radio or on video, and I'm so happy to talk about it, how my first date with my partner was not all that I wanted it or expected it to be. We had a wonderful time and we went on a second date, and we've now been together for a couple of years, but
that's brilliant.
There were so many things that were attractive about him, like his problem solving skills, his assertion, his communication style, and if something was kind of troubling me, he'd be like, hey, let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's resolve it, let's get on with it. And I just thought, okay, I also, as a matchmaker at the time, had in my mind what I was looking for, and he helped me break down all of those boundaries and barriers to holding myself back from love. And I think it's amazing that you help people do the same, insisting on the second date, having that accountability. So in a world that's so online, can you tell me in a nutshell the biggest hurdles that are holding people back and why they should come to you in order to resolve it and have a bit of a smoother